It's time to meet Clifton.
With your host, Ray Grabowski.
Here's Ray.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Meet Clifton. Tonight is a special night. It's our 1-year anniversary of being on the air. It actually went pretty quickly and we've had a lot of fun. We had a lot of informative guests. People have learned a lot and we've got a lot of great feedback from this. But tonight's going to be special. We're going to have our producer, editor, and host picks for tonight. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. What we decided to do tonight for our anniversary was to have a producer, director, and the host pick the show that we thought was the most valuable, the most informative, that we liked. So tonight that's what we're going to do. But first let me introduce some of the crew. Diane Ganji, who is our producer. We have Craig, who is our director. Pat Meyer, who is our cameraman and does a lot of other things here. And of course Sharon Korbanix, who is our update person. So first, I think the best episode, and I'll go first, being I'm the host, if that's okay.
That's okay.
I think our very first show, we had John Beagle III, who is our health department director, come on. I think he did a fabulous job. He took a chance with the show. We asked him to be the first guest. He came on, and him and Jennifer Kidd came on, and they did a great segment on Zika virus, which is still relevant today. So let's take a look at our first guests, John Beagle and Jennifer Kidd.
Welcome back. My first guest tonight will be Mr. John Beagle III, Health Officer and Director of Human Services, along with Jennifer Kidd, Health Projects Coordinator. John, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it, Jen. Nice to have you. As you know, there's a lot of talk in the news in the health news about the viruses that mosquitoes transmit. One of the big issues right now, which doesn't affect New Jersey directly, but might, is the Zika virus. Now, first of all, I don't know what the Zika virus is, but maybe you could explain to me roughly, basically, what is the Zika virus?
Sure, that's what Jennifer and myself will do tonight. Actually, before I talk about Zika, I just want to ask you a question, right? What would you rather get bit by, a mosquito or a bed bug?
Okay, John, well, actually, we've all been bitten by mosquitoes. I've never been bitten by a bed bug, but I imagine it would be more painful and more dangerous and carry more disease.
Okay, well, that's what a lot of people say, but actually a bed bug does not transmit any type of disease, whereas mosquitoes, they transmit so many different types of diseases. West Nile virus, dengue fever, malaria, and the latest one that's in the news is the Zika virus.
Right.
So the Zika virus is actually a virus that is transmitted by a mosquito. And this is not a real new virus. Actually, Zika was discovered in 1947. It was found in the forest in Uganda and named the Zika forest, so hence the name. It also is present in many countries right now, and that's the large concern. South, Central America, the Caribbean, and also now in Miami in the latest news. And that's as of today's taping, so everybody has to make sure they keep updated.
Okay, and I've had a few questions here, and one of them is, what are the signs and symptoms of Zika virus, and why are people so concerned about them?
Well, the signs and symptoms of Zika virus include fever, rash, joint and muscle pain, headaches, and also conjunctivitis, or what we know as pink eye. Most people who become infected with Zika virus do not feel any symptoms. They do not show any symptoms. However, in the 20% of people that do get symptoms, the illness is very mild. The biggest concern that we have with Zika virus is that the fact that it can infect pregnant women, and this can greatly affect their unborn child and cause something called microcephaly, which causes small heads and can lead to a lifelong physical and developmental issues for the child.
Okay.
So that's the biggest concern.
Right, and I guess a concern to me is the Zika virus contagious, and how is it spread? Because we'd like to know that, is it on contact, is it through saliva? How is this transmitted?
Well, most people who are infected are bitten by a mosquito. However, Zika virus can also be sexually transmitted. So it's very important that, and we'll talk more about this in a little bit, that couples that are planning on getting pregnant, that they take precautions and they watch where they travel so that the mother does not become infected with the virus.
Okay, so in essence, but who's at the greatest risk for getting infected with Zika? Is it young people, older people? Who's at greatest risk, at least for our area?
Well, anyone living in or traveling to an area where Zika virus is active is at risk of becoming infected with Zika if they have not already been infected with the virus. But of course, where our main concern is of pregnant women because of the risk to the unborn fetus. All travelers should take real precautions when coming back to the United States so that they do not become bitten by a mosquito, because if that mosquito bites them and then goes and bites somebody else, it could potentially transmit the virus to that other person. So the biggest message for people who are coming back infected is that they try not to become bitten by a mosquito for at least 3 weeks.
Right, and that's the one thing that we have to make sure that everybody realizes, that no mosquitoes have spread the disease here. Okay, it's all been travel related or other.
Right,
Right,
I
in the
understand
state of
that it originally came back from people traveling back from another country to here,
Right.
and that's how it started here.
Mhm.
So let's say we have a pregnant couple, and how could they prevent the sexual transmission of the Zika virus?
Well, experts are saying that they should either abstain from having sex until the baby is born, or use a barrier method so that the man does not infect the woman with Zika virus. If pregnant couples or couples that are planning on becoming pregnant in the near future have questions about Zika virus and travel precautions that they should take, or precautions that they should take if someone should have to travel to an area with active Zika transmission, they should definitely talk to their healthcare provider. It's very important that they make an educated decision.
Okay, and John, I know this is in part of your department, and a lot of people want to know what can they do, outside of their homes to prevent, mosquitoes from breeding, because we hear
Right.
this all the time. Stagnant
Right.
water. Can it be from a large pool, a small? I'm just
It
trying
could
to,
be from a bottle cap, actually. So, the key with mosquitoes, they need two things. They need a blood meal, and they need water to lay their eggs, okay? So the blood meal is, they like us, correct? And the stagnant water could be anything from a bottle cap, a wheelbarrow, a pool, clogged gutters. A lot of times people don't realize that their gutters are clogged, the downspouts. So anything that water can collect. Actually, toys that are outside for a while. A mosquito needs to, from egg to adult, is 7 to 10 days. And that depends on how hot it is. And usually 7 days, the warmer the weather is, but 10 days. So our key is to try to get that stagnant water removed, either by them, or if there's an abandoned house, if someone sees an abandoned house and there's a pool that they know is not being filtered, they can contact the Clifton Health Department at 973-470-5760. What we will do is we'll send an inspector out, check it. If we feel that there is possible larvae, mosquito larvae there, we will contact the Passaic County Mosquito Commission. They will go out. If they feel that there is larvae there, they will go and inspect it, and they will also treat it. And that's not by spraying it. There's different, what we call donuts, that they put in the stagnant water that will destroy the larvae. So, sometimes if we can't remove the water, we can treat the water.
okay, and one question I have also, because this pertains to Clifton and Clifton residents. Has there been any reported cases of Zika virus in Clifton itself?
Well, not from Clifton,
Right.
but travel related, yes. there
Travel
are-
related.
Yes.
Okay, so at risk, we're pretty safe in the Northeast there, I would think.
Well, the mosquitoes that are down, in those areas are called Aedes aegypti mosquitoes. If you want to say, we have their cousins up here, and they have been found to carry Zika virus in the laboratory, but not transmitted in New Jersey yet. So that's a great thing, and the biggest reason probably is because of the weather that we have. We have the cold weather where they don't overwinter. So, and the other thing about the mosquitoes, these mosquitoes, they're during the day as well. They're present during the day. I know everybody thinks that mosquitoes are just dawn or dusk, but these mosquitoes are hardy during the day too.
Okay, and these sprays that you have people spray themselves and go out from, are they effective?
They can be, but what you have to make sure is that it's an Environmental Protection Agency registered repellent. And I know DEET is a popular brand. And whatever you do, whatever you spray, make sure you read the directions on who to spray, because sometimes you can't spray your child directly. So again, make sure you read those directions.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I guess my final question here is, so what's your primary messages that you want people to take away from our little interview here today?
I'll start it off, and I guess Jen will finish it. So as public health professionals, we do not feel that there will be an outbreak of Zika virus in New Jersey because of the information that I presented. But everybody that is going to travel, they have to educate themselves. Educate themselves on where they're going to go, if they're going to go outside, what they should do. And again, talk about making sure the water is, removed, etc. And if they have any questions, they can contact the health department. Jen?
And people can prevent the spread of Zika here in New Jersey. Again, those people that are getting infected in countries where the virus is very active, when they come back, it's just very important that they're not exposed to the mosquitoes here so that they don't get bitten and then possibly transmit the virus onto somebody else. So they should stay indoors as much, wear long sleeves and long pants if they have to go outside so that they do not get bitten. We want to protect the mosquito population here in New Jersey. If people do have questions about the virus, about travel precautions, about testing for Zika, they can call the New Jersey Zika hotline, which is 1-800-962-1253. They can also go to the Clifton website and the New Jersey Department of Health website or the CDC's website, and they can click on the Zap Zika button and find out more information about Zika virus there.
Okay. Oh yeah, very informative. It's a lot of information I didn't know about, and I hope that it helps out the Clifton residents for this, because a lot of people are a little concerned, and it's they're
Right.
afraid it's going to be epidemic, and I'm sure we just assured them that it's not. So that's a good thing, and I appreciate you coming on the show, and hopefully we can have you back a few more times for other issues.
We'll talk about something.
Yeah, a little more cheer.
Yeah.
Okay, stay tuned. We'll be right back with.
This will be everlasting love. This will be when I waited for. This will be first time anyone is gonna be. I'm so glad I'm being time. I'm so glad that you rectified my mind. This will be everlasting love for me.
Okay, we hope you enjoyed that segment, and we have some music in between. Now we're going to go to our producer, Diane Ganji, and we're going to ask her what her favorite pick was during the year, and I'm not even too sure what it is, but we'll let her introduce it.
My favorite episode was about the bees and how they harvest the honey.
Okay, so
Really
that was a good
enjoyed
time.
that.
Yeah, that I think everybody liked it.
Yeah.
Even George enjoyed it.
Right here in Clifton, right?
Okay, so let's watch that segment. Okay, welcome back. Question to my co-host, George. I know you're a coffee drinker, but on occasion, when you drink tea, what do you use in your tea?
Sugar.
Sugar, good good answer.
Sorry.
And some people use honey.
Yes.
And actually that brings me to my next guest. He's called the Honey Man. He's from Clifton. He raises honey, I know, in Clifton and other places. He'll explain that to us. Welcome, Brian Aromanak.
Brian, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Ray, how are you?
Good. Thanks, Brian, for coming on.
You're welcome.
I know they call you the Honey Man, and obviously we're going to talk about honey. Now you raised, I know other places, but you raised the honey in Clifton, the bees that.
The bees, right.
Right, that.
Produce the honey. That's the
Yeah,
only
like in
honey
your-
that I produce is from natural sources.
Okay, and these beehives or whatever you have there on your property?
Actually, my farm is 11.2 square miles, the size of Clifton, because I have them a mile apart.
Wow.
And my bees can go 2 to 3 miles.
Okay,
And I have them all the way from the botany to the Allwood section,
wow.
Richfield, center of town.
So obviously
So-
we're a town about Clifton, and we like to know that we have bees in Clifton.
Right.
But what's so special about the Clifton honeybees?
Well, People say that's probably one of the best tasting honeys they ever had.
Okay.
In the last 4 years, our honey has been in the top 3
Really?
in North Jersey, and in 2013 we had the best tasting honey in the area. Last year we were number 2, and it's because of how I have them forage just on natural plants that grow in Clifton, the trees. Probably 90% of my honey, my spring honey, which I get at the end of June, comes from 90% trees.
Wow.
And some of the trees in Clifton are spectacular. We have from the end of March, matter of fact, this year in February, when it was warm, we had the maple trees starting to open and the bees were already bringing in pollen.
Wow.
At that time of the year. We had a little setback in March. We had the snow, but they've been bringing in pollen again. Right now they're working on maple trees. As soon as the dandelions come up, they'll work that and the clover. But my biggest honey is probably from the linden tree that grows throughout Clifton. Wow. And some of these trees have been there probably good 50, 60 years. They're the size of oak trees, but at the middle of June in the neighborhood, these trees have such a sweet fragrance that the bees are attracted to it. And I probably get about 500-600 pounds of honey. Wow. Just in the spring. And with the fall, I get about another 500 pounds. So there's about a half a ton of honey.
All right, so not only are we the greatest city in New Jersey, we also have the greatest honeybees.
Well, we've beat out
Clifton.
Bergen County and other counties for their honey.
That's
so,
good. And so maybe just explain a little bit, where does honey come from?
Well,
Like,
honey
I know
comes
you
from...
explained why it's unique to Clifton because of...
Well, we have different trees that go from March, and even till
Right.
last year, they were still bringing in pollen in November. So
Okay.
I have a good 6-7 months that I don't have to feed them supplement
Right.
like I do in the winter. If they run low on honey in the hives and I have to weigh them, I go out there in the winter, and if they're light, I got to feed them sugar to maintain that bee population because they don't hibernate. They
Right.
actually stay, they're living and they stay warm. They eat either sugar. Some people, the commercial people, feed them corn syrup. It's cheaper, but I don't like to feed them that.
How do you
because-
feed a honeybee sugar?
In the winter, I just open the top up, take granular table sugar, cane sugar, no sugar beet stuff because that's GMO. I just sprinkle it on the top. Warm day, the bees come up, they carry the sugar down, and they put it in the comb, and they live off of that.
Okay.
And then another week or so, I check on them. If they have no more sugar, I add more sugar
You
to the
also
top.
said you weighed them? You
Yeah, what I do is I try to lift them up, and if they're light, that tells me that they're low on...
You mean the whole...
The whole hive, yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, not by, I just take my tool and I,
Lift it
like
up?
a lever,
Yeah.
and if it doesn't budge, then I know they're set.
So how does the honey granulate or become
Well,
solid?
my
Because I'm
honey
not sure of the
granulates
process.
because when I harvest it in June or in September, I take the frames, which have the honey, I scrape the wax off, and then I spin it out, and I just lightly filter it and put it in jar. I don't heat treat it, and that's what commercial beekeepers do. They want it to flow faster. If you go to big companies out in Pennsylvania, and they're constantly moving honey, and honey, when it gets cool, it slows up, almost like molasses. So by heating it up, you're kind of like, it's almost like water. So they can send it through and bottle it much quicker, which I don't do.
Right.
It comes right from the hive, spin it out, collect it, little bit of a filter, keep the heavy wax out, right in a jar, and it's sealed up there, and then it's good for the year because by the next year I'm sold out.
Okay, great. Just quickly, do honeybees sting?
Oh yeah.
So I'm trying to set
Oh
up my
yeah.
next guest.
It's a good sting.
It's a good sting.
It's a good
I'm sure
sting.
you've been stung quite a few
Oh
times.
yes, my knees haven't felt better.
Okay, so you might want to try some honey. I guess it's healthy.
I got a question. Where's your outlet to sell the honey? On your farm, or you do the street fairs, or
I do street fairs, yes.
you do the
Yeah.
Clifton one, right? I think no.
No, they have.
I've seen you before selling them.
Yeah, I've been at different flea markets, but
Okay.
the one guy's not from town, and he comes in. He's a big guy, so.
Oh,
Okay.
well.
But the people that know me, I sell to them, and
You know, I understand. Yeah.
I'm sold
Well,
out
it's good
by
to
the
know that
next
Clifton
year.
has a lot of great things,
Yeah.
including
Yes.
our bees, and that they do sting. So
Yeah,
which
it's-
brings
well,
well, I have another guest coming on after this. Is going to mesh into this
Okay.
because I know honeybees are protected. So
Right.
he'll explain that. So it'd be a good idea to try it, some Clifton honey if you have the
Right.
chance. I'd like to thank Brian for coming on, and
Okay.
hopefully I'll get to try some.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks
me
for
too.
coming on.
Thank you.
All right,
Okay.
thank you.
Hi everyone, welcome to the updates. The Theater League of Clifton will be hosting their unforgettable cabaret, and that's Thos Shipley tribute with the tribute band, and it's going to be for jazz great Nat King Cole, August 19th and 20th. Call the Theater League of Clifton. The tickets are still available, and that's at Maria's Restaurant. Then on September 10th, we have the Boys and Girls Club will be hosting their car, truck, motorcycle show. That's at the Allwood Atrium at 2 Brighton Road. And the Master of Ceremonies is Joe Piscopo this year. Then on August 23rd, we have Clifton Native Night, featuring musicians from Clifton who play in bands, and this will be at Woodrow Wilson, and that is on Van Houten Avenue. And last but not least, it's September 17th. It's the Van Houten Avenue Street Fair, and that's by the Athena Business Association, and that is from 11 a.m. until. So please call. There are still booths available, so either call Chris or Ray at the ABA.
So please come to support these events, and thank you so much.
Okay, we hope you enjoyed those updates. That's what's happening this week and weekend and for the following week. So if you can get out to any of these events, please come out. Look, our next pick will be by our director, Craig Shom, who's also the station manager at Clifton Cable TV. I think Craig has a soft spot for animals, so I'm kind of thinking he might pick a segment with one of our animal guests. But Craig, please introduce it.
Well, yes, I do have a soft spot for animals. You're absolutely right. But as the director, I always try to look for what's going to look the best. So every decision that you guys physically see, that's all me. So the best visual segment we ever did was the Angels for Animals.
Okay, so basically we're going by the best production,
Yes,
as well
absolutely.
as a good segment. And I remember that segment we had the cats running around.
Yes,
That was
so
nice.
fun.
Yeah, it was really nice, and I'm sure those cats have been adopted since then.
I'm
So
sure.
let's take a look at this one. Often we tend to think about the welfare of ourselves and our fellow man when hard times fall. But what about the animals that share our community? Our next guests are some of the people that take care of our little furry friends. I'd like to welcome to the show Amy Kozel, President, and Trish Malone, Vice President of Angels of Animals and Kittens.
Hi, Ray.
Thank you,
Thank
Ray.
you.
And they brought along some of their furry friends, cats. I don't know their names. I know George has one here.
His name is George, too.
This one's George.
Yes. This is George the kitten.
We have a
We got two
George.
Georges?
And I have Bootsy and Snickers.
Snickers.
Okay, so I'm sure they're happy. We have a few more down here.
We have
So,
you.
Amy, tell us about the Angel, of Animals organization.
We are a 501c rescue group that takes in unwanted, abused, neglected animals. We do not have a shelter facility, so we take these animals into our homes until they find their permanent homes. We do tend to focus on special needs, the ones that end up in the shelters that nobody really wants because there's something wrong with them. This is Nub. He's a perfect example. He's 2.5 weeks old. Unfortunately, he's got deformities of his legs. They're not working properly. He's already been to see a neurologist and an ortho doctor, but he's a little bit too young. But these are the kind of cases that we thrive on. We like to take the challenges.
Okay. Are all of these technically special needs cats?
No,
or-
he's the only one.
Okay, so you rescue these cats. Now, this is not affiliated with the city or anything. This is a special organization.
We
Yes.
are an independent 501c3 rescue.
Okay, and how can people reach you if they have kittens? We'll post that at the end of the show. It's just that, a lot of people, there's a lot of cats in town and they
There
have
are.
litter and,
We do ask a few things. We ask, number one, that people go through their municipal resources before reaching out to us. Again, as an organization with a focus on special needs, one of the things that we do is we will search shelters throughout New Jersey looking for animals like Nub and his litter. We took them from a shelter in South Jersey about 2 weeks ago because they did not have a chance and the shelter did not have the resources to save them. So although, yes, we absolutely rescue animals from the street, we do ask in any municipality that we work in, that people try to go through the municipal resources first before resorting to private rescue groups like
okay,
us.
so now you rescue the cats. What happens? They're up for adoption or?
Well, there are a few things that happen first. Number one, we're going to do a medical intake, and they're going to see a veterinarian at least a couple of times before they're adopted out. They're going to receive all of their vaccinations. You look very comfortable,
Yeah,
Ray.
I'm very comfortable.
They're going to receive their vaccines. If they are old enough, they will also receive their spay-neuter surgery before adoption. If not, our contract does stipulate that your cat or kitten that you've adopted from us will have to be spayed or neutered, and we do follow up on that.
That's a good Mother's Day present, right?
Oh, your mother would love a little
yeah.
George.
So we have a lot of viewers today. How can they find out more about your organization?
Well, we're very active on Facebook, and we definitely ask everybody to follow us on Facebook at Angels of Animals Inc. You can also visit our website at angelsofanimals.org, or you can come see us on Friday nights. We're at the Clifton Petco, generally from 7 to 9 p.m., and you can meet our volunteers and meet some of our animals that are available for adoption.
Okay, and how about volunteering? 'Cause a lot of people like to volunteer for organizations. Do you accept volunteers?
We love volunteers.
Absolutely.
Our greatest need is for volunteer foster homes. Families who are willing to take an animal into their home. George,
Sorry.
maybe we can talk
Sorry,
you
we
into it.
cannot.
Fostering is a really fun and easy thing.
I
It's
got two
also
dogs. I can't take them.
Dogs and cats, they live together. It's not a problem.
No, with my two.
it's a really great family activity, and we do have a lot of families and kids involved. You foster the animal, we take care of the medical care, we provide the food, the
really?
litter, the supplies. All you provide is a safe home and love until they are adopted, and it's super fun. We also look for volunteers to help us out with fundraising. We have bake sales on a regular basis.
Yes, I was going to ask you, how do you raise money for this? Because this is a nonprofit.
Absolutely, we don't receive
But
any.
it does cost money.
It sure does cost money, and we don't receive any state or municipal funding. So we receive some grant money, and we are always identifying grants where we can, do some good in the community with grant money. But most of our income comes from donors, regular people who attend our events. Whether it's our Tricky Tray, which is coming up on October 19th at the Bethwood, and information is available on angelsofanimals.org. We hope to see the community supporting us at an event like that.
And we'll post that
Most-
underneath the screen so you can see.
Most appreciated. Donations that come in the mail, donations that we receive at events, and of course our fundraising events like our bake sales, our annual holiday bazaar, and our kitten shower and Tricky Tray, which are our two biggest fundraisers of the year.
Well, that's great that you care so much. And a viewer question is, what's the most unusual place you've been to rescue an animal?
That's a loaded question.
We've been to a lot of places. We certainly don't trespass, but I have seen Amy with permission. I do the fundraising and Amy does the dangerous and dirty stuff, so I've seen her come out of crawl spaces with spiders in her hair more times than I can count. She's pretty fearless. She fell off a roof once here in Clifton.
Only once, never again?
Oh, yes, you only have to fall off a roof once. But we'll pretty much go anywhere, whether it's a swamp or a backyard full of tires or underneath the world's scariest
I
crawl
love it
space.
when people say to me, well, the kittens are under there, but there's no way you're going to fit under there. I'm like, oh, really?
She fits.
I shall fit.
That's
It's
good
fun.
to know.
It's fun.
I think, it's a worthy cause. We're going to post a little website thing here, whatever you have at the end of the number to get in touch. And if anybody has any more questions, they can certainly contact us here at the station or contact them. There's certainly a lot of cats out there that need rescuing, and I know you're the people that are going to do it. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Hopefully we could show these cats a little bit.
They all need a home. They're all up for adoption.
Okay, we'll be right back. Thank you. So that's our show for tonight. Our anniversary show. We've been here 1 year. It really flew by, but we hope you enjoyed those little segments. And we look forward to another great year. And by the way, if anybody has anyone that they think would be a great guest, by all means, contact us at the studio. And just closing remarks, our producer.
Thank you very much for watching our show this year.
We had a lot of fun. Thank you very much for all of your support, guys.
Yeah, we had a good time doing the show for the first year. We're looking forward to a lot more we're going to do next year, so stay tuned.
It was great meeting some of the guests that I never would have met before in my life, so I really appreciate it. And it was great when people come up to you and say that they like the show. We appreciate your support, and it really is encouraging to us, so thank you.
Thank you. See you next
Bye,
season.
everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.